Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how we went through the process of designing and building our new workbench. So this right here is our old one that we got for free a couple of years ago from someone in our neighborhood, and you can see it's not really the greatest thing. It's a little uneven here. We got a bunch of clutter on top and it's just not that sturdy. If we go over here to this vise, we're moving the whole table. So we're going to build something a little more sturdy and something just that we can start building better stuff on. So I'm going to show you our process of designing this first. So this right here is the wood we just picked up. It's our premium quality wood, definitely not warped at all. And then we got our, hold it together with some bolts. We got some screws, new saw blades. Right here is all of our paperwork and whatever you call them, design sheets. We'll walk through a couple of those in a minute, but it's just a couple notes and things showing us how we're going to build this and stuff we needed to build it. So we got some 4x6s, 4x4s, so 2x10, 1x6s, some normal 2x4s. We'll go through all that. We also got, for our top, we got one nice piece for the top layer, which is 30 seconds, I believe. The other two pieces here are also 30 seconds, but the wood's not as nice. And then our top piece here is going to be a shelf underneath, which is it's not as thick. So let's get into the next step. So right here we got the side view of our table. It's just showing some rough dimensions of just some rough plans of what we were going to make. This shows where our legs were going to be. And then this is the base that you would stick the top sheets on top of. So this changed a little bit, but this just helped us get a rough idea of what we wanted. So it's gonna help us when we start making it, but we did change this a little bit, so it's not perfect. So let's go mock something up for our height, which we have not determined yet, and our the depth of the sheets we're gonna cut. So we just moved all these boxes away and moved that shelf from right there to up there. So we were just mocking up this cardboard here to what we're going to do for the actual workbench. So we have these outlets in that we put in a couple years ago because we were anticipating putting a workbench here. So those are already in place, and so we were trying to figure out, if we needed to plug something in or if we had something on the wall, what would be the best place or the best depth for the workbench. So I think we came to around 33 inches, which would be right here, and making it 35 inches tall. So if we have it like that, we have a little extra because the sheets are 4x8 feet. So we'll have about 16 inches after that to make like a shelf or something we can put in the corner. So we're still going to figure some of that out, but right now this is looking about like what we're going to do. So we might start cutting. So now that we have our depth here, we're figuring out what we're doing here. So we have this 1x6 in the front, and then a 4x4. We're going to have some 4x6 legs. Imagine that. And then another 4x4 back here. And then this is, imagine it being upside down, but we're putting that 2x10 in the back. So let's start cutting these sheets of wood. Alright, so now we're going to mark or pencil our marks on the wood. So we're gonna have, because the piece in the front and then the piece in the back, that offsets our measurement a little bit because those are both around 3/4 of an inch. So we're accounting for that in our measurement here. So we're marking this at 32 inches. And we're gonna mount our kind of straight edge here for our saw. And we're gonna cut this off. We also mounted a light up with bungee cords and nails. So we have a little more light over here. We have our trip hazard. And now we're gonna start cutting. All right, so we got this board here. So we get hopefully a straight line and we'll start cutting this piece. We got this nice clean cut here. So we're gonna move our next piece on, line it up and start cutting it. All right, so we just got all 3 of these cut. It's pretty sturdy right there. I think it's plenty thick for our workbench here. So now we're gonna screw them and glue them. We got our sheets here that show us where we're gonna put these screws. And we got some construction adhesive here, some liquid nails that we're gonna put around this and glue it. Then we got our deckmate screws here. So right here, that's our thickness. It's a little dark, so I can't read it, but we're thinking about making this like 3 inches at first, but I think that's plenty thick right there. I don't know if you can see that because of the glare, but we drew a grid pattern on here. Yeah, you can see that right there. So we're gonna stagger these screws here. So these are about 7 inches apart and these are about 4 inches apart. And then, yeah, so you can see we're just putting a screw staggered like that. So we're gonna drill all these in so this is the middle board, and then we're drilling this to the top board. And then after that, we're going to screw the bottom board into the top 2. So let's get into that. So we're about to put our glue here, and then we're going to stick this piece, which is our middle piece, on top of this, and then put our screws through from this one into this one. There's our nice bead of glue. Alright, so we're sticking this middle piece onto the top piece here, and then we're going to screw in, or drill in all our screws here. Alright, so we got our Milwaukee drill bits with our Ryobi drill. We're about to put our first screw in. And it fell out. And that's all the screws. We're hand tightening them with a ratchet for precise estimation, you know? Yeah. So we were just mocking this up here, and we decided that we're gonna have our 4x6s. These are just simulated in 4x6. 12 inches from the outside. So we're gonna have 4 of those. And then we also have this 4x4, one in the back and one in the front. So we're gonna cut those down and then cut our 4x6s. So we got our 4x6 up here. And so it's gonna have a little notch, as you can see in this diagram here. There's a little notch there. So it's gonna go just into the bottom sheet of wood of the 3. So we measured this distance. We want our workbench 35 inches. And so we measured the top 2, and it's exactly 1.5 inches. So that leaves us with a 33.5 inch. Don't worry about that line. We got 33.5 inches right here. We're gonna go cut that, and then we got our first leg. So we got our 4x6 here. We're gonna use our Ryobi miter saw. It's got a pretty small blade. We're gonna see if it goes all the way through. Let's find out. So close, yet so far. We flip this over, and we're going to finish our very accurate cut here. Look at that. So now you know you can use your Ryobi 10-inch saw here to cut your 4x6. So we got our 4 legs here. Look at that. Can't get much better, unless you could. So right now we're working on our notch right here. It's gonna be the top of our 4x6. So we got our line drawn right here. We got a little thing set up so that we can hopefully get a straight cut. We set this on the saw, so we only go down 3/4 of an inch. So we'll have 3/4 of an inch cut off here and on all 4 sides. If you had a table saw, this would look real good, but we don't, so we worked with what we had. So now we're about to repeat the same process on the other 3 legs, and then cut off this top portion, which you'll see in just a couple minutes. Here's a better view of what we're doing. So we're going to cut on these lines here. So to remove the outside wood for our inside notch. And we're changing the def on the saw to 23/30 seconds. So we built this stand down here to hold our 4x6 sturdy, kind of. so we can cut this out. And look at that. It's not pretty, but it works. So we're gonna file it up. So we'll finish filing this and start making the other three. You may have noticed that on this leg, the sides just seem to like fall off. So by the second one, we figured out some stuff we had wrong with the depth of the saw blade and all that. So you can see we don't have to use the hammer and we don't have to file nearly as much on the next three. And there you go. All four of these, all custom. We're gonna start getting the holes cut in the wood in this bottom layer for these four legs. Alright, so we got leg number 2 here. Because we're starting with number 2. And so should you. So this is, we're marking our lines here. We're going to use our jigsaw and cut. Take this off. And we're going to cut on the line here all the crookedness and all, so that this little notch here will fit perfect in this bottom layer. So we're getting a drill bit to drill into this wood here, and then we're going to get our jigsaw and cut this out. So we got our crooked lines to go in our crooked cut here, but it should fit perfect. Look at that. It's real close. So it barely, yeah, it does not move at all. It's gonna be a great leg. Now we gotta do that 3 more times. That's all 4 of the holes for the notches on the legs cut out, and they're pretty sturdy. Hopefully that should do a good job of holding this table nice and tight. So we got our 4x4 here. That's going to go on the back side of the workbench. So we're going to see how this saw here cuts a 4x4. It did it in one swoop. There we go. So this is where the piece is going to go. It's on the back side here. And we got our flush side here, all the way down there, there, and then we got this one up front. It's already the right size. All right, we're taking this apart so that we can put our top two pieces underneath, and we're gonna bolt them together. So we are just about to glue the top or the bottom onto the top two pieces here, but we're gonna do a little test first. So we're gonna see if this liquid nails subfloor and deck garbage is any good. We're gonna put some in between these two blocks here, and we're gonna pull them apart later on after it dries, see if it works as good as what we were supposed to use, which is the Tight Bond number 3. But we're using liquid nails. We're gonna see how good it works. So we're just putting a little in between here. Push it down. We're gonna get a little clamp. Make sure it gets a good fit. A good seal, whatever you want to call it. There we go. So now we're gonna use that stuff right here. Alright, so we just used an entire tube of this liquid nails garbage. So we're going to stick our bottom piece on here and then screw it down just like these two pieces. Alright, so we got our wood glued. We got the screws up top. So we're gonna start screwing these in. All right, so next we got these 5-inch screws here, and these are special. They feel so that they need the T30 size. So we got some T30 bits here from Milwaukee. We got our DeWalt drill bit here that we're going to drill them out with, and we're going to use a Milwaukee Impact, and we're going to use the drill bit on our Ryobi drill. So we're gonna screw these in, and these should go through about 2 boards. Yeah, look at that, 2 boards. So if you leave the amount of power tool manufacturers in the description, in the comment section, and it's the correct number, you get a pinned comment. So go comment how many power tool brands you see. So right here, we're trying to bow this 4x4 because it was warped a little bit. So what we've been trying to do is only do one at a time and move this a little bit down here. So hopefully we can get it pretty straight on here. It's looking pretty close. All right, we got our last one here. And now we're gonna move on to the other side. So now we're going to cut some pieces to go in between here. Some 4x6s. We got this line here, so we're going to cut this. And we're going to cut another one for that side. So we made this rig here to hold our legs. And we're about to drill into the leg here with our 1/2-inch drill bit. Because we got our 1/2-inch bolt here. We're going to go right through the middle into this one. And we're going to cut a hole in here so we can put our nut in there. So let's get to that. Got it. There. Okay. So right here we got a old-fashioned hand crank drill, and we're going to use it because we got this large drill bit for it. Alright, so we just finished squaring this off so that we are able to put our washer and our nut on the inside of this. Now we're gonna try it out and see if it works. It seems that both those fit in there real nice. So we're about to put this bolt in, but first we're going to use our hand crank saw drill and countersink this just a little bit so that this is below the level of the wood. Alright, so we got our washer in here. So we're going to use our 1/2-inch drive impact here to get our bolt in. So, get this started here. Turn it out that way. So we're going to put our washer in. We're going to use some needle nose pliers to hold our nut so we can get this threaded. We're going to use and now we're going to use our 3/8 because the other socket won't fit in. And we're going to yank this thing out. There we go. Oops. Now we got this side in, we're going to start on this side. We're now on the other side. We got this thing clamped up with my great-grandfather's clamp here. So, you know, it works better than the new ones. And we grew a brain cell since the last side. So we're using this bit to start our pilot hole. So we're going to drill into this right now. All right, now we're going to swap to our 1/2-inch drill bit. All right, so since our drill bit's not long enough, we're going to go into this one now. There we go. So we got this thing in, or drilled out. So we're going to cut out our hole for so we can hold our nut in. So now we got this marked up. Now we're going to drill it out. It was a little quicker than the other side, wasn't it? All right, so now we're going to square this off. All right, so we just got this hole squared up. Washer fits in there. Oh, look at that, that's a nice fit. So we use our impact here. We need some needle nose pliers. There we go, there's some. We also need the washer and another nut. Here's one. Ratchet here. Tight. All right, that's 2 down, and now we gotta go do the exact same thing on the other side. That's for tomorrow's work because it's quitting time. Before we go for the day, we got to show you it in place. So here it is in place. Don't ask why the holes are going to be on the outside. No one thought about that. But here it is. So now we get to go do that on that side tomorrow. All right, so we're about to cut our hole here for our third leg. So we can put our bolt in. We're going to drill out where the head of this is going to go. So we got our hole here drilled out. Let's see if our bolt fits in there. Looks nice. Now we're going to put our other drill bit wherever it is and drill this out all the way through. So now we're going to go through with our 1/2-inch drill bit. So we had to trace this out because we measured it up and the place is going to go here. So it's in the exact spot, perfect on that line we drew. We got all this nice rig in here, and now we're gonna put our hole in, going from this one to this one. All right, now we're gonna pull this apart and finish our hole through this one because our drill bit only goes so far. But now we got our hole here. It's right where we need it. Definitely not in the, good thing it's not in the crack right there. That's nice. So we're gonna do that on the other side now. And then we're also gonna, like we did on the other side, cut our holes out so we can access the nut that's gonna be on the inside. So we got our holes drilled out. We got our squares here that are kind of square. And we're about to put our bolt in this side, and we'll do this side, and then we'll have all 4 legs finished. So our little wedge thing didn't work, so we'll put a couple sheets of metal in here, and it seems to do the job. Alright, so we're gonna fit this thing right here and see if it works, and see if it's the right shape and all. So we're going to be using these bolts here on to hold our legs in. We're going to use 2 on each leg, and then we're going to have this little metal piece because we couldn't find nothing that would have worked pretty good on the back. This will work real good on the back here, and then we'll find a nut to put on the back. But these are just long enough. They're going to work pretty good. We have 2 on each leg. Holding it together. So we're gonna drill out these holes here. Let's get into it. Alright, so we're about to drill this out now. We're using our pilot bit here. And we're going to use our 3/8 size, which is the right size. Now we're going to take this out and drill the rest of it out because our bit's not long enough. Alright, so we just drilled some holes in our little things we made back here. And then we also countersink this just a little bit for this end. So we're going to stick these in. we're gonna stick that on. We got our washers. We got our lock washers. A knot here. So now we're gonna tighten this thing up. Looks pretty nice. Now we're gonna do it on the other side. All right, so we're about to start on this side, or on this one, and then we're gonna do the same thing on that, and we'll get back to you. So we got these legs in on this side, and they're actually really sturdy. It's kind of surprising. So you can see how the finished product looks with a little metal, our washers, and our nut, and then the bolt here. It's nice and sturdy. So now we're gonna move the entire table into the other room so that we can start building it more, because if it gets any bigger, it's not going to fit through the doorways. So let's start moving it. So we just moved this into the workshop here, where we're going to place it permanently, just so we can finish up working on it. So our next steps are going to be putting these legs on, just like we did on that side, but that's for the next time we work on this. So remember this is where we put that glue in between the liquid nails, in between these two pieces of wood. So now we're going to take it apart, or see if it comes apart easily, and how strong that glue actually is. So we got just a screwdriver here, and you can see, can't just pull it apart or anything. So we're going to see how hard it is to get this out, or these two pieces apart. But first we're going to go over to our vise. And then you heard the crack there. And that was the wood, not even the glue. That's some pretty strong glue. We're going to try this again. But this time, in between that, see if we can get it apart. You can see it started right there. Give her a little more. And most of that was, well, brought some of the glue off, but some of that was still the wood. I'd say that's some pretty strong glue. The liquid nails garbage. So you can use Tight Bond or any of those other brands that you want, but I'm sticking with the $3 liquid nails. So we learned a little something from the other side to transfer to this side, and we got these things right here on either side, holding this 2x4 onto this, holding it down so that this is more these are more flush to the bottom board. And then so we got these two in already, and it works a lot better. Our new process. So some of you might not like this, but what we're doing basically is we got this magnet on this end here, and then we're getting our drill bit. And then since you can't get a drill right there, we're using the drill at an angle with our magnet here, and it actually works pretty well. So Haters can do whatever they want, but if it works, don't you know? All right, so we got these 3 in right here. So now we're just gonna do this last one real quick. So we're gonna finish hammering down. We're gonna get our little plate here. Put our washers on. And a wrench over here. On these, we can use a ratchet because we move further from the middle post here. Looks pretty good right there. So we got all the 4 of these done on this side and all 4 of those on that side. We also got this board here that we're going to put in the middle. Right there, just to strengthen this up a little bit. But so we're going to put that in, and then these 2, and then we can flip it over. So we went ahead and put this piece in the middle. We put some screws in the top here, these 5-inch ones, and then we're putting one in here, or on one on either side as well. So we're about to do that one. And now we got this bottom piece here, nice and strong. We got I don't know where it went, but we had a 2x4 across here, and we had to lift it up, and we clamped it down with some things so that this was nice and flush to the bottom, even though it may not look like that, it is. So we're just about to flip this over because we're gonna make these once it's flipped over. We also got our shelf that we're going to put here. So let's get it flipped over. Okay. Where are we going?
Good. Well, we got to go that way a little bit. Alright, now on the side.
How you do
Whoa! Alright, just keep on going with it. That's it. Then we'll take these out.
So we got our table flipped over here. It doesn't look too bad. You know, keep in mind that we're putting a piece in the front here. If you remember that from the beginning of the video, like 2 hours ago. There's a piece going in the front. Seems pretty sturdy. It passes the shake test. Looks all right. It looks like you can hammer on it with a couple Newton meters. So after flipping it over, we got a little excited and started wanting to mock up the back and the front here before it being productive on the bottom. So we got these clamps here holding up our wood, how it would look like. So we got this piece, and it's actually the other however many inches from the front that we cut off to make our depth here, that we just put on the back. And it matches, which we originally got like some 2x10, I believe. It'd be pretty heavy duty, but you know, this matches. It looks pretty nice. You're not going to be beating on the back anyway. And we got our sacrificial front here for when you start hammering all on the front here and scratching it up. This is an easy to replace piece versus the top. And we got it clamped in, looking pretty good. We got our level up top because we were kind of impressed that it was exactly level. Look at that. We're not cheating. There's nothing underneath. That's real. But we also found, once we got in the back, we found that someone who built this wall 20 whatever years ago didn't do a very good job. And it's also just warped, you know, from whatever. The wall's a little messed up. You can see we have our level here. Our level's pretty straight. And our wall's not. So you can also just see a bow. You can even see that on the camera. Yeah. So we're gonna get some new 2x6s in here, fix this wall up, and then we got some plywood, some 4x8 sheets that we're just gonna throw on the wall here, so that we can, you know, put our flathead screwdrivers not in between two nails, but in between two nails on a piece of plywood. So that's gonna be right above our workbench, so we can just reach up here and grab all the tools we need. All right, so we're just putting these two pieces in the bottom here. We got our level. We put it this way. It's nice and level, and we did our level that way. Nice and level. We're putting the screws in right there. Now we got a firm foundation for our bottom shelf here. We actually decided not to do any cross members there. So we're just doing these here. And I think that's plenty good. Then we're gonna have our shelf there. It's gonna be a nice shelf. So we made it just enough off the ground to roll something underneath like that. You know, probably won't use it, but it's not too tall to where, you know, you can't put nothing underneath, so that'll be good. I don't know if we showed you on video yet, but we also put this in. We got some screws in here. We, believe it or not, we even measured and did some maths and made them equal distance apart. 10 inches. Because 10 was a nice number. Look at that, 10 inches. So we just screwed that front piece in. So now I can get my hammer and beat on the front, and then in a month's time we can replace that. We got this back one in, nice and strong. We put some screws in the back there. This is still in here. Nice and strong, even without that. And yeah, so we're about to put our shelf in on the bottom. So you can kind of see here what we're going to do with our shelf. We put it underneath the table so we can mark the, cut these where the legs are going to be out. Because we're going to have it go to this level in the front. And then we're going to cut this out, have it go around this, and then go all the way 12 inches out. So that it's level with the, or even with the table here. And then we're going to cut out the back leg and have it go to the end here, just like in the front. And so we're going to cut the back off as well, and then you can see how we're going to do how it will once we cut it in just a second. Look at that, first usage of the new workbench is going to be cutting the shelf for the workbench. So we got our line drawn here. Hopefully it's pretty straight. And so we're going to cut this with our skill saw here and then put it on the bottom. Alright, so we got our skill saw and cut 2.5 of these corners here, or sides, whatever you want to call them. And then we got our jigsaw to finish it up. We got one side, the other side. And now we got 3 crooked sides and 1 that's non-existent. So let's try test fitting this thing. We're in a bit of a tight space here. Having a little bit of trouble getting it in there.
I need to make it bigger.
We're gonna file on this just a little bit to make it a nice snug fit. So we just got our shelf mounted. We screwed it in, and it's actually real sturdy inside these posts here. You can see it's nice and strong. We're gonna be able to throw all kinds of stuff on there. Look at that. The top, this just been used a little bit, and we got some sawdust up top. That's all good, but it's looking pretty good. So next, all we're gonna do is start fixing the 2x6s on the wall here, and then we can put our sheets of wood up top. Check that out, we got a new doorway here. Some dangling electrical boxes. That's pretty cool. So we got our new 2x6 here. It's pretty straight. It's Home Depot straight, and we're about to put it up right here. It is at least better. Oh, that's not fair. We got a nail on there, but at least better than that board and that board, which is even worse. So let's get this new one up. We're gonna have to cut it down a couple feet. So we got these two new 2x6s in, all screwed up there, and we got the boxes moved. We got them the distance off the wall that we're gonna have this wood. You know what I mean. You can see it's a lot better back there. All these are pretty much even, so when we go to put the wood up, it's gonna be nice and even. So tomorrow we're going to be getting to that with the wood on the wall. We have now finished putting the wood up on the entire wall here. As you can see, looks pretty okay. It's at least flush. We also added some outlets in and got these fancy covers and all that. The only one that's not in is this Ethernet port, because everyone needs Ethernet in their workshop, don't you? We also added a outlet back here because we're thinking about putting our other saw over there. But so we got our wall up of wood. So in just a minute, we're gonna move our workbench against the wall and see how it looks. At a later time, we are gonna get a some thin, or not thin, but some wood to go down at the bottom to fill in the rest of the area, and then we are also going to put something against this wall, probably sheetrock. So let's move this workbench. Alright, so we just moved the workbench against the wall. It looks pretty good. So, you know, standing right up against this, you can reach the outlets pretty good. They're not too high, not too low. And against the wall, we're going to be able to hang all kinds of stuff. So you want to hang your level right there, you can. It's gonna be real cool. Over here we're gonna have some shelves, not this wood, but oops, something like this, where it's just gonna be a couple shelves against the wall. Maybe we'll film that at a later time. It's not going in this video, but we'll have a couple shelves going up there, have some stuff on them. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. One thing that did happen, I think we finished it like a week ago or something. So it's been like a week, and our front piece here is a little bowed out. So we're gonna do something to fix that. Bend it in somehow. But yeah, so that's the new workbench. Let us know what you would have done differently down in the comments. And thanks for watching.